Hello and welcome to Fast and Factual on Firstpost, where we get you the top 50 stories from around the world. I'm Alison Lagrange, coming to you live from Durban, South Africa. Let's begin. In our top stories, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said there is a need to prevent terrorist activity in Syria. His remarks came during a meeting with U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan yesterday in Jerusalem. Israeli army has seized control over its border zone on its border with Syria in the buffer. Now they plan to keep the area until the new Syrian regime meets with the Israeli security demands. The IDF has also been striking Syrian weapons facilities since Assad's regime's fall. Meanwhile, the new Syrian government has decided to suspend the country's constitution and parliament for 3 months. They plan to set up a judicial and human rights committee, and that will examine the constitution and introduce amendments to it. The rebel-led authorities say they will institute the rule of law in Syria. The leaders from the G7 nations will meet virtually today to discuss the situation in Syria. In a statement earlier, the group said that they were ready to support an inclusive and non-sectarian government in Syria. The G7 has also called for the protection of human rights in the country. Meanwhile, the U.S. said it is working to bring an American citizen found in Syria. The U.S. national identified as Travis Timmerman was detained for 7 months in a Syrian prison. He was found near the capital Damascus. Timmerman was freed from prison after a Syrian rebel group broke free detainees following its takeover of Damascus. The U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan has said that a ceasefire deal in Gaza may be close. The remark came after Sullivan's meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The U.S. top official said that he got a sense that the Israeli leader was ready to do a deal. He is set to travel to Qatar and Egypt to meet ceasefire negotiators. Meanwhile, Israeli military has continued its strikes in Gaza. Medics say Israeli strikes in southern Gaza killed at least 58 people yesterday. The Israeli army said that it hit the members of Hamas who planned to hijack humanitarian aid trucks. Another Israeli strike on the postal facility in the Nusayrat camp killed at least 25 people and wounded dozens of others. And China has said it won't go soft on Taiwan's independence activities. This as the government considers the island a part of its territory. The Chinese Defense Ministry said that it is up to Beijing to decide whether or not to hold drills. It also added that the military will not be absent in fighting against the separatist forces. Beijing's statement follows Taiwan's reports of detecting Chinese warships and aircraft around the island. And the U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has been named Person of the Year by Time magazine. The business tycoon turned Republican politician secured the status for the second time. The magazine described the incoming White House occupant as a man holding history in his hands. It also added that we are living in the age of Trump. He was previously named Person of the Year in 2016 after winning U.S. presidential election for the first time. French President Emmanuel Macron is set to name a prime minister later today. This after Prime Minister Michel Barnier's government was toppled in a no-confidence vote on the 4th of December. Macron left for a day-long trip to Poland on Thursday, but reportedly shortened the visit to finalize the decision. Hundreds of protesters demanding the impeachment of South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol clashed with police in the capital, Seoul. They attempted to break through barricades and to reach the embattled president's official residence. The demonstrators' actions were a response to Yoon's speech from Thursday, where he justified his decision to impose martial law in the country. India's central bank, the Reserve Bank of India, has received a bomb threat via an email. The threat email in Russian was also posted on the bank's official website. A case has been registered against an unknown accused at a police station in Mumbai City. An investigation into the matter is underway. At least 16 schools received bomb threats in India's capital, New Delhi. This prompted a multi-agency search operation in the premises. However, after a detailed investigation, the threats were found to be a hoax. This follows a similar incident on the 9th of December, when 40 schools in the capital were targeted with similar threats. At least 6 people were killed after a fire broke out at a hospital in the southern Indian state of Tamil Nadu. The victims were found dead inside the hospital in Dindigul, and this while the rescue teams managed to evacuate at least 30 others. The fire reportedly broke out due to a short circuit. And in climate news, the Tuvalu made a passionate defense of its right to survival and self-determination at the International Court of Justice. Representing the small island states, Tuvalu called on major polluting nations to implement drastic greenhouse gas cuts, as rising sea levels threaten to submerge its territory under current warming trends. Around 3,700 evacuees returned home as firefighters made significant progress against the Malibu wildfire. The blaze, which has scorched over 4,000 acres of rugged terrain and destroyed 6 homes, is now 30% contained. Officials reported that over 22,000 people and 7,600 structures, including 5,600 homes, remain in the fire zone. And according to a study, Alaska's native seabirds have been dying at a record rate due to climate change. At least 4 million birds are now dead. A record-breaking marine heatwave from 2014 to 2016 has caused a catastrophic population collapse. Experts say that this is the largest mortality event of any wildlife species reported during the modern era. Perched precariously on the cliffs of El Alto in Bolivia, colorful shacks known as suicide homes are at increasing risk of collapse due to heavy rains. These structures, doubling as workplaces for Aymara shamans who perform offerings to the Pachamama, the Earth Mother, are now under threat as their foundations become exposed. And Zimbabwe is bracing for another dry spell, exacerbating hunger for millions already affected by an El Niño-induced drought. This, as per the UN World Food Programme, Southern Africa's worst drought in decades, has led Zimbabwe and neighboring nations to declare a state of disaster over severe food shortages. And China has tightened its rules to curb methane emissions from coal mines. This is to reduce the emissions of the powerful climate-warming gas. Over 150 countries have vowed to reduce their methane emissions by 30% by the year 2030. And according to scientists, the Philippines is at a double risk of typhoons. This has been attributed to the growing climate change crisis. The region is becoming increasingly vulnerable to tropical storms. The country was hit by 6 typhoons between October and November. And on to business and tech news now. Reports say U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's newly formed Department of Government Efficiency is exploring ways to reduce banking regulations. Among the proposed changes is the possibility of abolishing the Federal Deposit Insurance Corp. The regulator is established to help failing banks. And staying on with the United States, Donald Trump has extended his support to dockyard workers. The workers have been engaged in talks with port operators to prevent automation at the U.S. East Coast. Now, Trump said that the amount of money saved from automation is nowhere near the distress it causes for workers. The Workers' Union has given their employees until the 15th of January to finalize a deal on the issue. And tech giant Amazon is planning to donate $1 million to President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration fund. Experts see the move as an effort to improve ties with the incoming president. Amazon has also announced that it will stream the inauguration on its OTT platform, Prime Video. And Warner Brothers Discovery is dividing its business into 2 separate firms. One will handle all of its cable TV networks, such as CNN, Discovery Channel, and Food Network, among others. The other will focus on its streaming services like Max, as well as its film and entertainment studios. Warner Bros. Discovery has been losing television viewership to online platforms in recent years. And Elon Musk says his rocket firm SpaceX is moving its headquarters to Starbase, located in the state of Texas. The area at the southern tip of Texas near Boca Chica Beach serves as the official launch site for SpaceX rockets. SpaceX has also requested local city officials to incorporate Starbase as a new city. And Boeing announced plans to invest $1 billion in its plant in Charleston, South Carolina. The investment aims to support increased production of 787 Dreamliner jets. It will also create about 500 new jobs at the site over the next 5 years. And the U.S. states of Minnesota and New Jersey have sued gunmaker Glock. They accuse the firm of selling a tool that can modify handguns into illegal machine guns. The tool is called Glock Switch, and it is being sold for as low as $20. The lawsuit says that the product is illegal under both state and federal laws. Chipmaker Intel's co-CEOs have said that the firm may be open to spin off its manufacturing operations. Now, Michelle Holtos and David Zinsner were recently appointed to lead the company after the ouster of the former CEO, Pat Gelsinger. Now, during a conference, they said that Intel has plans to separate Intel's product and manufacturing divisions. However, it is not certain, and the chipmaker has been struggling amid financial difficulties. And social media giant Meta has unveiled a new version of its artificial intelligence model called Meta Motivo. Now, the company says the new model can enhance user experience in its virtual reality world, the metaverse. Now, Meta Motivo can help users to control the movements of their digital avatars. Texas has launched a probe into over a dozen tech platforms, including Reddit, Instagram, and Discord. The investigation is led by Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. It aims to examine the privacy and safety practices of these tech firms for minors. And moving on to sports news. And today we start with chess. Indian Grandmaster Gukesh Damaraju has become the youngest world chess champion. The 18-year-old beat the defending champion Ding Lishan of China yesterday. Gukesh dethroned Lishan by winning 7.5 points in the best of 14 games in Singapore. The Indian forced Lishan to resign in the 14th game after 58 moves. Overall, Gukesh won 3 games against Lishan's 2, and the duo played 9 draws in total. Meanwhile, celebratory reactions erupted in India after Gukesh's World Championship win. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, President Draupadi Murmu, and opposition leader Rahul Gandhi took to social media to hail Gukesh's momentous win. The former Indian world champion Vishwanathan Anand hailed Gukesh's win as a moment of personal pride. And in cricket news, West Indies beat Bangladesh by 4 wickets in the third one-day international yesterday. Batting first, Bangladesh scored 321 runs for the loss of 5 wickets. West Indies were able to chase the total with 25 balls remaining, after wicketkeeper batter Amir Jangu had remained not out at 104 runs, having won the last 2 matches. The hosts swept the series 3-0. And Jason Gillespie stepped down from his role as Pakistan's Test team coach. This came amid reports that Pakistan Cricket Board, or PCB, did not act on Gillespie's recommendation for renewing the contract of a high-performance coach. The PCB has named former Pakistan pacer Aqib Javed as the interim Test coach. And Australia have confirmed their playing 11 for the third Test against India in Brisbane. In a significant change, the hosts have replaced pacer Scott Boland with Josh Hazlewood. The rest of the Australian lineup remains unchanged. The third Test between India and Australia will start tomorrow in Brisbane. The 5-match series remains tied at 1-1. And in football news, Manchester United beat Victoria Pilsen 2-1 in the Europa League yesterday. Victoria's Mati Verda had scored the opening goal just after half-time. But Rasmus Højlund then brought United back into the game. The Danish striker scored a brace to seal the match for Manchester United. Tottenham played a 1-1 draw against Rangers FC in the Europa League. Rangers' Hamza Igerman had scored the opening goal of the match in the 47th minute. Tottenham's Dejan Kulusevski had scored a late equaliser to deny the Rangers a win in the Europa League. And Chelsea beat Astana 3-1 in a Conference League match. Chelsea's Marc Guiu had scored the opening goal in the 14th minute. An own goal gave Chelsea a 2-0 lead. And Renato Vega then took Chelsea's tally to 3-0 in the 39th minute. And former China coach Li Taye was sentenced to 20 years in prison for bribery. The former Everton midfielder was convicted for giving and receiving bribes totaling $16 million. Now, Li was convicted of selecting certain individuals to the national team in exchange for a bribe, and the Chinese football has grappled with corruption at least since late 1990s. Belgium's hockey defender Arthur de Sloeven said that India is a big contender for more glory at the world stage in the future. The Olympic and World Cup gold medalist praised Indian men's hockey captain Harmanpreet Singh. In an interview, de Sloeven said that India is a big contender for a World Cup or Olympic medal in the near future. India men's hockey team is the most successful side in Olympics, with 2 back-to-back medals in the last 2 Olympics. And in entertainment news, rapper Sean Combs has now been accused of raping 3 men. 3 civil cases were filed in New York detailing separate incidents. The men claim that they were drugged and then raped by the rapper between 2019 and 2022. However, Combs' attorneys have denied the allegations. Musician and actor James Kennedy has been arrested for domestic violence. The arrest happened in Burbank City of California. The police got a complaint after Kennedy got into an argument with a woman. He was then booked for misdemeanor domestic violence. He was granted bail for $20,000. Iranian singer Parastu Ahmadi has performed at an online concert with a hijab. Later, she faced prosecution from the judiciary for defying a dress code. She streamed the concert via her YouTube channel, wearing a bare-shouldered, red, long, flowing black dress. And British musician Elton John thinks that legalizing marijuana was America's biggest error. In an interview, he said that he has had his share of struggles with drug addiction, and it's not a good idea to legalize it. Elton John said, and I quote, "I maintain that it's addictive. It leads to other drugs, and when you're stoned, you don't think normally." Indian actor Allu Arjun has been taken into police custody in the Asandia Theatre stampede case. 1 woman died after a deadly stampede broke out at the theatre in Hyderabad city on the 4th of December. The theatre organized the screening of the actor's latest film, Pushpa 2. The nominations list of the 2025 Critics' Choice Award is out. The list is being ruled by Wicked and Conclave with 11 nods each. June Part 2 and Emilia Perez have also received 10 nominations each, while the film Brutalist got 9, followed by Anora and The Substance with 7 nominations. The event is set to take place in January next year. Meanwhile, the Indian film We All Imagine as Light has been nominated in the Best Foreign Language Film category. Now, Payal Kapadia's film is in the race with Emilia Perez, Flow and Kneecap. This nomination comes days after All We Imagine as Light got 2 nods at the Golden Globes Awards 2025. Spider-Man star Tom Holland has launched his own production company. It is called Billy 17. The company has also signed a producing deal with Sony Pictures, and they will be developing a project titled Burnt. The plot details remain under wraps. The reboot of the American crime drama series Prison Break has gotten a green light. The show got clearance for shooting its pilot episode. The story will revolve around a new crew of inmates in the jail. Prison Break debuted in 2005. Actor Jude Law has been honored with the Hollywood Walk of Fame star. During the ceremony, Law thanked all of the people who shaped his career His family and friends were by his side when the BAFTA-winning actor got his star. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Fast and Factual. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to Firstpost.